Daddy. He's arresting me. He's arresting me. Give me your other hand. He's arresting me, Dad. There's nothing in that vehicle. I promise you. Okay, come here. I didn't do anything.
Hi, I'm Ian Runkle, also known as Runkle of the Bailey. In today's video, we're reacting to when cops have to arrest their children. I already have thoughts, but let's watch the video and I can share them as we go.
Cops have to deal with all sorts of violent and horrifying criminals in their job. But what happens when it's their own children that they have to arrest?
Dad! Get in the car. You're arrested for DUI.
On the 28th of December 2000.
At least it's only DUI. It could be so much worse because there's such a range of things out there, but let's keep going.
2022, a witness had observed a white vehicle strike a traffic light and then quickly drive off. A part of the vehicle's bumper had fallen off in the road after the hit. Around 15 minutes after the call, police located the suspect's vehicle at a gas station across the road, but the driver was the last person they expected.
And once you've had an accident that's caused bits of your car to fall off, it's gonna be pretty easy to figure out which car it is. They're just gonna be able to play puzzle piece and match the missing piece.
I'm back from Applebee's?
Yeah, I had a drink.
Okay. How old are you?
21. My dad is,
Listen, your bumper's in the road over there. Did you just hit that pole?
No, I promise I did not.
No?
So dropping the my dad is a sheriff's officer, she knew what she was doing here. She's trying to get special favors. She's trying to see if they'll cut her a break. And now she's lying to them. So these things will probably both tick them off. There's some officers where that might work. The asking, oh, I'm the daughter of a cop. But if you have a cop that isn't going to be affected by that, they're going to be so much more annoyed. Especially now that, this is not going to fly, this deception.
The very thing 21-year-old Teresa says is that her dad is an officer with the local PD, possibly hoping that he'd come and get her out of the situation. But the cops at the scene are sure that things are way past that.
You left Applebee's.
Yeah, I left Applebee's.
You cut through the plaza. You came out by Lowe's and Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Did you hit the traffic pole that's right there?
No, I did not hit the traffic pole. This part was hanging off already. I hit a deer in Pennsylvania because I go to school in...
Do you smoke marijuana recreationally?
No. Now I'm just going to say, when damage happens, you can tell when damage is really fresh. And they're going to be able to tell, she says she hit a deer. Well, look at the car. Has the car been, is the car perfectly clean or really clean? Maybe, but if the car's dirty, which most cars are, they're going to say, no, this damage clearly happened recently and your car's not covered in blood, so where's the deer? People don't realize how transparent a lot of their lies are.
I do not smoke marijuana universally.
Universally, smoking marijuana isn't the only part of her story that doesn't make any sense. She's saying that her bumper was already hanging off from an accident in Pennsylvania around 25 miles away, and it just happened to fall off right as another car identical to hers struck a traffic light. But Teresa has a trick up her sleeve that might just get her out of this. At least, that's what she hopes.
I hit a deer.
You see this?
I hit a deer before this. You can ask my dad.
This piece fell off at the traffic light that you hit.
Oh, you can ask my dad. She's trying to make sure that they get dad here to help her out.
That you knocked over. 6-7. Do you have another unit out with you?
You call my dad? He's a sheriff's
officer. All right, hang out.
Over the course of just a few minutes, Teresa brings up her dad.
Now, if I was her dad and she makes me come to this scene, I would be so pissed. If he's a police officer and she's doing this, what she's really doing is telling these officers that she thinks that her dad is a bad cop, that she thinks her dad is going to be corrupt and pull strings for her.
Over 5 times, obviously praying that he'll be able to find a way for her to get out of this. But before he can come to rescue her, the cops are starting to zero in on what really happened and begin to get at least some of the truth from Teresa.
Did you drive away because you're scared because you had maybe had one drink and you think you're drunk?
Yeah.
And you might get arrested, but you don't seem like you're drunk?
Yes.
So you want to just tell the truth?
Yes, I'm telling you the truth.
So when after Apple...
So now that she's telling a new story, when she's saying, yes, I'm telling you the truth now she's told 2 stories, and that gives the police a lot of license to really mess with her day. She would actually have done a lot better just not saying anything.
Did you hit a traffic pole? You can't miss it. It lights up. It's red, green, and yellow.
I hit a curb.
You hit a traffic signal.
No, I hit a curb.
Yeah, you went up the curb, you hit the traffic signal, the traffic signal fell down, and you left.
I was texting. If you just
Okay.
call my dad, he would tell you.
Now, I was texting. Depending on where you are, that might actually be a really serious issue of I was texting and got into a car accident. You got to be careful with the things you offer as a defense, because if she offered a defense that's actually worse than the underlying things, that can cause problems. Like if that's arrestable, then great, they've got enough to arrest her on. Confess to be texting at the time.
Well, here's the thing. Your dad, the sheriff's officer, wasn't driving your vehicle today.
In just this one short conversation, Teresa admits that she did hit something, that she's more intoxicated than they realized, and that she was texting while driving. 3 driving faults that can each come with their own punishment. So now that the truth has come out, the detectives decide to speak with her father, John.
And I'm guessing this is going to be a difficult conversation because, as I mentioned, I don't think he wants to be looped in on this one.
But it turns out he's not there to help her.
What's going on?
Hey, John, how are you? So your daughter hit a traffic wall. Okay. Where's the damage on the car?
Okay, the damage on that on the car there, I think it was like the front right bumper.
John explains that Teresa did hit a deer earlier.
That was unexpected. I didn't expect that he'd back up the deer story, so maybe that's true.
And that the damage was on the front right bumper. But it was nowhere near as serious as the damage the car was currently sustaining.
Can I come out? Are you guys out there?
That's up to you. I'll see if she wants you to come out, if she wants, you to drive her home.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Let me come out there and I'll see you guys in a couple minutes. Thank you.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
At this point, the officers are already considering she can get a ride home.
It looks like Teresa isn't going to be getting the salvation she was hoping for from her dad. And just 5 minutes later, he arrives at the scene to talk with the cops.
Real quick, I just wanted to say that Attorney Tom / Attorney Reacts content is now on Spotify. We just launched a partnered show, link in the description. Go check it out. Now, back to the video.
So, what she's saying, and where the damage was and everything, doesn't really make too much sense. So, tried to get some more information out of her, but and then that piece of bumper there. So, for the other one, was it just the bumper wasn't hanging like that?
Yeah, no, so what it was is basically this was intact.
Okay.
This piece was missing, and the scratches here, that's all from the deer that she
There was damage, but not nearly as bad as all that. This officer is not helping her out. He's just straight up doing his job. So good for him.
So right now, this is going to be my call. Okay. Coming out.
Okay, gotcha.
He's going to be providing all the details.
Okay, who's your supervisor? Not that one, dude. I'm just asking.
The cops who were first at the scene almost seem as though they're expecting John to try and make excuses for his daughter, and get extra nervous when he asks who their supervisor is. Obviously, there are countless examples of
Yeah, that seemed like a bit of an aggressive comment to me.
corruption where officers, especially those in the higher ranks, are able to use their power to prevent their family from getting into trouble. However, the officers quickly realize all he's trying to do is gather all the information on the incident so he can make a fair assessment himself. This quickly becomes evident as he checks his text messages from her to try and create a timeline of events.
I just want to show you this so you can see it. You home 10:30.
He's dishing the texts. He doesn't have to do, but he's choosing to do so. She's just brought extra evidence to be used against her.
39. What do you think time do you think that initial call came? Because she probably hit it and was like, Dad, what the fuck do I do?
Somewhere between 10:45 and 11.
That's about right.
We were talking to her. She wasn't telling us what she said all.
I mean, lying.
He's sitting here, he's like, I'm gonna solve this thing. I don't care who she is. I'm gonna solve it.
So she knows better. I'm a cop. She knows not to do that. Well, maybe she didn't even. Do you think she? I'm not. I'm saying she didn't lie.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to be very clear about that. But she might not even look at the freaking car to see if there's any difference.
However, despite John's willingness to help the officers out, the sergeant at the scene asks him not to get involved, so to guarantee the integrity of the investigation.
Which is smart. You want to keep him at his distance, and then there can't be any allegations made. I'm a defense lawyer. I would be trying to make something out of this. Oh, Dad was on the scene? What is that? Did Dad start basically acting as a parent and co-opt the investigation to use as punishment for his kid, which would be improper? Or did Dad weigh in to try to to help his daughter and contaminate the investigation. Both of those are things I could potentially argue create a problem with the investigation in some fashion.
She says she'd only had one drink at Applebee's, but it's starting to seem as though...
I'm just going to tell you, police officers, anytime you're like, I had 1 drink, I had 2 drinks, they hear, I had 5 drinks, I had 10 drinks.
She may be a little more drunk than they realized. Suspicions that were only confirmed after some field sobriety tests.
And everything that happened today, right? I don't think that you were okay to safely operate the motor vehicle.
Dad! Dad!
Did Dad say do not? Because that's what I'd be saying. That's what I thought I heard him say.
Where's my dad?
Oh, your dad's right over here. Dad.
You stop with this shit. Get in the car. You're arrested for DUI. Go ahead.
Have a seat.
Stop trying to ask me to help you out. It's not going to happen. They're going to have some really difficult conversations later because she's going to be upset that he didn't step in, and he's going to be upset that she asked him to. And quite frankly, he's the one in the right on that.
After being forced into the police vehicle by her own dad, Teresa was driven to the police station where her blood alcohol level was tested. It came back as 0.17%, over twice the legal limit. As of this upload, Teresa is still awaiting her penalty.
If she is at double the limit and she's not showing any of those sort of outward signs until they do a field sobriety test, that tells me she's had a lot of practice drinking. And that's concerning. Maybe that's another conversation they should have at their house.
Issued a court summons for driving under the influence, reckless driving, and failure to report a car accident. Teresa's dad followed protocol perfectly, but Kenneth Adams' dad did the exact opposite when he tried to abuse his power as a commissioner to try and save his son from prison.
Tell me who I called to find out why he's in jail. You want me to sue the son of a county sheriff?
In November 2022.
Ooh, I don't like that. See, that's where I thought this was going, and unfortunate that we're getting here.
Kenneth Adams was pulled over for running a stop sign, but as it turns out, Kenneth was in much more trouble than he realized.
How's it going?
Good. What did I do wrong?
Good. So the reason I stopped you is you didn't come to complete stop the stop sign?
I did.
And then you didn't have your turn signal on.
I sure did.
Okay.
I know for a
The approach to this isn't to argue. The approach is just to stay silent.
fact I had my turn signal.
Okay.
That's why I was surprised you were pulling me over, but whatever.
The officer then took his license and ran it through the system.
The more you talk, the more they can gauge, if you're slurring or anything like that.
He would discover Kenneth had a warrant out for burglary and theft of a vehicle.
Whoops.
All of a sudden, Kenneth becomes defensive and refuses to exit the vehicle.
Can I get you to step out of the vehicle with me?
What are you doing? No, what's going on? Seriously, what's going on?
You have a warrant.
How do I have a warrant?
I don't know how you have a warrant, but it's on our system right now. You have an active warrant out of 7th District Court here in San Juan.
I've gone.
Now, once you've got a warrant, they're not going to take any arguments here. You're not going to talk your way out of a warrant.
No, that's incorrect.
Okay. Well, it's on our system right now.
Well,
I'm not going to argue with you about it. You're going to go to jail tonight on that warrant, okay?
No, I'm not, dude. This is absurd.
Mr. Adams, you do have an active warrant for your arrest.
And who issued the warrant though?
The court's
The court.
issued.
For what though? Because I've gone to court for.
And this is never going to work. All you're doing is just getting the officers to think this guy might be a threat, this guy might be a problem.
Everything. There should not be an active warrant for me anywhere, dude.
Kenneth claims that he's already been to court for his previous crimes, but the warrant still calls for his arrest. For the majority of smaller cases, the suspect is tasked with turning in the documents that prove that they've been to court and completing any classes they were made to attend by the judge. Without those documents, the court cannot confirm they attended anything. So when Kenneth forgot to turn his in, the warrant remained open, and the police had no way to tell that he had in fact been to court.
Issued October 13th.
For what?
It has some felony charges, burglary charges.
Dude, I've been to court for that. No.
Even if you are 100% in the right on a warrant, you're still getting arrested.
I've been to court for that.
You want to know the charges?
Yeah, I do.
So it has 2 burglary charges listed, a theft charge, mischief.
That's on my old case.
3 charges of burglary of a vehicle, and criminal trespass.
Yeah, why is that floating up now?
Kenneth was taken away to the station, but this is when his father, Bruce
I thought he might take a swing at somebody. Good for him for not.
Adams, turned up, who turned out to be the county commissioner for the local area. How convenient for Kenneth. Immediately after arriving at the scene, Bruce demanded to know what was going on and quickly started to show signs of corruption.
Where's Ken?
Now, I'm wondering how he found out. I'm guessing that when they went back to run the thing, that he texted, sent a message, said, hey, here's where I am. I need help.
He's in jail. They took him.
You already took him to jail?
They took him to jail, and I stayed here with the car.
Why?
For a warrant.
Who do I call to find out?
To find out the warrant?
You're a police officer. Tell me who I call to find out why he's in jail.
I gotta be careful with this stuff, Bruce. You understand that? Okay. That's the warrant. Okay, so it says warrant status active, offense burglary, burglary, theft, criminal mischief, burglary of a vehicle, burglary of a vehicle, burglary
He's
of a
already
vehicle.
been to court over that.
You saw the warrant right there. I showed you the warrant.
He's been charged with that, and he has a plea in abeyance on all of it.
If he was pulling over anyone else's kid, and this was the story, that kid would be going to jail. It's his kid that's special.
What do you want me to do?
I want you to turn him loose.
I can't turn him loose, Bruce.
Who can?
Nobody can. He's been arrested for a warrant. The courts can.
And the warrant's false.
Huh? The warrant's not false.
You want me to sue the son of a county sheriff because he arrested my kid on a false warrant?
The warrant's right there.
Bruce is obviously...
Now he's threatening lawsuits. You know what happens when anyone else threatens lawsuits? It doesn't go well.
Obviously trying to abuse his position and influence the commissioner to try and save his son from the law. But luckily, this officer stands his ground and refuses to cave in. Eventually, though, Kenneth was released from jail, the warrant was withdrawn, and no further action was taken against Bruce. But the officers that arrested this law student weren't as lucky.
He's lucky because he probably should have faced some consequences there. That's the way the world is, unfortunately.
I promise you, I didn't do anything.
Marion Humphrey Jr., son of retired county judge Marion Humphrey Sr., was pulled over after an officer allegedly witnessed him driving dangerously. Footage shows him swerving slightly after
You know how many lawyers and law students are the kid of a lawyer or a judge or whatever else? Lots of them.
His exit. Marion is lit up by the officer and pulled over. He's then told the officer witnessed him nearly wreck his car and is suspected of dangerous driving.
When did you rent the car? Yesterday. Then you gotta take it, turn it back in a Fayetteville? Pick it up in Fayetteville?
I'm sorry, sir. This is, I'm trying to figure out that you have probable cause to stop me.
Yeah.
I didn't see any, dangerous driving in that pattern. Did you?
Because you're super nervous, so I'm trying to figure out why you're so nervous.
Being a law student, Marion asks if the officer has probable cause.
Also, why are you super nervous? He's been pulled out of his car, and there's a police officer grilling him. Of course, that is time to be nervous.
Cause for pulling him over. The officer struggles to give a good answer before claiming Marion seems super nervous.
Nervous is not probable cause.
Being nervous isn't a crime, and isn't evidence towards a crime either. And secondly, Marion actually carries himself incredibly well in this situation. He complies with the officer's requests, asks why he's being pulled over, and why he's being held. He even calls his dad to listen in on the entire arrest, something the officer clearly didn't like, as he then asks to search Marion's U-Haul.
If I bring a dog, is it gonna hurt anything?
Yeah, no, it's not going to hurt anything. I promise you.
This is a question designed to, they haven't searched yet. They may not be able to search, but they'll ask a question like that, and if you give the wrong answer, well, now you're getting arrested.
Honestly, just don't want to get shot. Yeah, that's all, and I'm sorry about that. It happens. I know it happens. Honestly, I don't want you to bring a dog because I don't think that's fair to me as a citizen, as someone who, if the only thing I did was kind of I did not almost wreck my car.
If you don't want to bring a dog, just let me look in here real quick and I'll get you down the road.
He's basically saying you have to agree to this search or else I'm going to hold you here for hours. That doesn't sound like a freely consenting search to me.
I don't like to bring a dog.
I just think that's so invasive of my rights, but you can live in here if you like to.
Marion does an extremely good job.
I would just say, I'm not consenting to anything. If you want me to stand aside, you do what you got to do. But I'm not agreeing to anything. I'm not giving you permission to do anything. You have no permission to search.
Job of eloquently showing how terrifying it can be to be stopped by the police while maintaining a calm and respectful tone with the officer the whole time. But regardless, Marion is placed in handcuffs for over an hour while the cops search his vehicle with a dog. According to the officer, the dog smelled narcotics and alerted the officers before even entering the U-Haul.
Dogs I'm not a big fan of overall as an evidence gathering measure. They are really they're a great tool for a bad cop.
The dog alerted on narcotics in the vehicle, so I detained him and he's in the back car while I searched the vehicle.
But he didn't wreck his truck.
No, but he almost did, so that's probably cause of stop.
Daddy, he's arresting me. He's arresting me.
Give me your other hand.
He's arresting me, Dad. There's nothing in that vehicle. I promise you.
Okay, come here.
I didn't do anything.
Predictably, the cops find nothing in the vehicle. Marion has since opened up a lawsuit against the officers, claiming they violated his Fourth.
Good for him. More people need to stand up for themselves, and I suspect the reason why he can is because his dad is a judge and has the money to fund it.
And 14th Amendment rights. As of this video's upload, the case is still ongoing.
I think that one is really unfortunate. I suspect they looked at this guy, they looked at this U-Haul, and they thought this is some drug running operation. Because right from the outset, where they've pulled him out of this vehicle, they're not investigating him for sobriety because they never seem to ask him any of those questions. The investigation doesn't seem to go in that direction. They wanted to have a look in that U-Haul from the very beginning. They wanted to have a look from the outset of this thing, and I think that was the goal. It's really just, we want to search this. We're hoping there's drugs in there. It's very invasive to have these officers digging through your stuff, looking at all your stuff, pawing your things. That's a very invasive kind of thing. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you thought of this one in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you check out these other two videos that'll be immediately after. Like this video, subscribe to see more videos like this, share this video with your friends, all of that good stuff. So thank you for watching. See you next time.
Big verdict.